Welcome to the channel, everyone. Well, you can see building the frame of engine run stand number 2. I sold my other one, so that one's gone. But I really enjoyed having one, so I'm going to build another one. It's pretty much going to be the same thing. I mean, that stand worked out, really well. Had some neat features on it. Gonna probably change just a few things on this one. A thing with these wheels, these are Amazon wheels. I'll link them. They were good wheels for that last engine. Was a little disappointed with how they rolled, but I think I figured out why. You have got to grease these things like really good, guys. I cannot stress enough how much you need to grease these. Now, I had to put a new greaser on this wheel here, because it wasn't taking grease. I was just getting grease everywhere. I pulled it out. I wonder if I can. I pulled it out, and I don't know if this is gonna focus in. There you go. It ripped the threads right out with it. So what I ended up having to do is I tapped it. I believe that's quarter by 28. Retapped it, put in a new grease cert, and all is well. It's taking grease beautiful. So you got to go through all these. Luckily, everyone else took grease. So really important, if you want these to swivel, there is a greaser on this one here, which greases the top bearings. But there is a second set of bearings. You see that right there? There's bearings in there and there's bearings in there. So make sure, I just shot a whole bunch of lithium grease inside there and spun it. Probably gonna do it again when I flip it over, because there's 2 rows of bearings. So don't forget, there's 2 rows. A lot of people, I think, forget about that. And then if you run them dry, now I got grease on my finger. You run them dry, you can wreck them, which is gonna make this thing not wanna spin very good. So before you use these, grease them. I mean, there's a grease cert here, there's a grease cert here for the axle, there's another grease cert up here. So make sure you're greasing them up, and you're going to be a lot happier with them. I see a lot of people are not happy with them, but I think they're not greasing them up all the way is what the problem is. But anyway, guys, I'm about ready to flip this thing over. I just did my crossover. Just got this welded up. I got to weld this is the bottom side. I got to turn it over, weld the top side. But yeah, I've got it all ready to flip on the ground and roll around. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll weld that up using my DeWalt 20 volt grease gun to grease this up. Guys, I cannot say enough good things about this grease gun. This thing is awesome. If you need a grease gun, it's worth the money. You will get your money's worth out of this grease gun. Really happy with it. Okay, so put a bunch of more time And the run stand here, you can see I got the upright for the radiator support, all welded up. It's exactly the same as the last one. It slides in and out for adjustability. I did add some handles to the side because I had trouble. I could grab one side, but the other side or something I couldn't grab a hold of, so just added those. It's just some rod. I don't know what that is, but I don't know what the thickness is, but it's just some heavy rod. I got the radiator. That's the one I ruined on the last engine stand. I'm just going to use that as a pattern to get my holes in this upright, so when the new radiator comes in I could just bolt it on. Got my front engine mount supports. Pretty well done. I don't have a mount down here, but I changed this up. This is actually a solid motor mount. I cut it up a little bit and then welded it to the threaded rod there. That's 1 inch threaded rod, and I got the rod goes all the way down in there, so it's like 7-8 inches of adjustability. Probably won't need that. There'll probably just be Chevy small blocks and big blocks on it. Probably just small blocks now. But I'm going to use the other side of the motor mount that usually bolts to the motor. I'm going to put one down here. Drill a hole, I'll show you. And then that's how I made my own last time, but I'm just going to order a motor mount. Actually, I've got 2 sets of motor mounts coming, and then I'll just leave that with this engine stand. It'll bolt, to the side of the motor, front side of the motor is where that engine mount will go. Just solid, I don't feel like you need rubber mounts for an engine stand. I've got a new bell housing coming, so that's the way I'm going to mount pretty much just like the other engine stand. I think I'm going to probably change up that upright, but again, I'll show you if I change something. But it's turning out real nice, so I'll be back once I get some more done to it. More parts come in. Okay, so I got my radiator today, and it's a pretty nice piece, guys. I tried to get the same radiator I got last time, but I guess they stopped selling it or whatever. I couldn't get the same exact one, so I went with this one, and this one looks even nicer than the other one, and I was real happy with that other one, the last one. I wasn't happy with my first one at all, but this one here, I mean, the welds on this one look the best I've seen on an aluminum radiator here. I've got a nice cover, a shroud, and an electric fan. So we'll see how that works out. Should work out fine. It's a 3-row radiator. You notice the shroud, there's no openings, and I think that's going to work out for the engine stand that's stationary. If you was going to run this in a car, that not having any fins to relieve some of the air might not work out so well. But I think it's going to work perfect for an engine stand that doesn't move. Mounts up just the same as the old radiator. I used that one to drill my holes, and I got rib nuts in there holding that on. This is a 67 to 69 Chevy Camaro radiator. I chose that because of how it mounts. It's just super easy to mount this on an engine stand. It's got the outlets the right size where they need to be for a small block, big block, which is what this stand will probably have most of the time. The radiator, here it is. I'll link it. Luxrad. It says racing aluminum radiators. So, well, you can see the damage. The UPS lady was afraid the radiator was really damaged, but luckily they had these pads and stuff, and they had some other foam pieces in there, and it made it. You can't tell right now, but there was just a few fins that were just slightly bent. Little screwdriver fixed them all. Oh yeah, and then this mount was just a little bit bent too, but you know what, guys? Shipping, things happen. This is an aluminum radiator. Surprised all that was damaged was this. It was just bent a little bit there and a little bit up here. Like I said, you can't even tell it was damaged. So yeah, a really nice radiator. Really happy with this one. I really like this one. I think this is an Amazon, sold from Amazon, shipped real quick too. So real happy with the whole deal. Hopefully that fan will move enough air. If it don't, I can always upgrade. No big deal. But the other one seemed to work fine, so I think this one will work all right. Another thing I just got was the motor mounts. Now, this is the motor mount. They're solid motor mounts. This bolts to the block. You know, it's got the 3 bolts, and it bolts up like that to the block. I've got 2 sets of these coming. One for the engine, and then you can see here I cut this mount off, and I'm going to weld this down here. And that's what I'm going to put my uprights for the front mounts on. I'm going to cut this one off, and I'll weld that one over here like that. And then, yeah, I think that's going to look a lot better. I made my own last time, and it kind of looked homemade, so I'm going to use these. I've got an idea. I bought a set. You get the motor side, and then you get the frame side, and I think I've got a use for the frame side of these mounts. So, yeah. I picked them up. That's what I'm going to do. So I got to get back to work. Okay, so I got a few more parts, a little bit more work done. You can see how I did these. So I got them welded on. Got my uprights on. I'm going to try to use these tractor pins versus I used bolts last time, and the bolts seemed to be just a pain. The threads and stuff would get caught in there, and yeah, I'm hoping these tractor pins work out better. I hope there's enough room for these. Down here there'll be enough room. Up here I don't know. We'll have to see, but and then I don't know if it's going to vibrate too much with pins. We'll see. I only know when I try it. I got the holes pretty tight, so there's not a whole lot of wiggle room. So you can see I've got a fuel tank or a fuel cell mounted. You remember the last engine stand, I just had a plastic tank that I mounted over here. Kind of wanted to up my game a little bit. So I went with this one. It's a gallon. I feel like that's enough. I never run out last time and I had a gallon. Maybe it was a little more than a gallon, but I'll probably get like a 2-gallon plastic tank that I can take to the gas station to fill up premium, and that'll probably stay with the engine stands. But it's a pretty nice tank. I'll link it. I know it's on the wrong side. The fuel pump is over here, but there's going to be a lot going on right here. There's going to be a drain for the radiator and stuff. So a lot going on over here. Not much going on over here, so that's where I put it. I got a fitting that's going to shoot that way. It's a really nice piece. It's all polished. I got some grease on it right now, but I'll wipe it off once I get it all mounted. I run out of rib nuts, so waiting on those to finish that up. But I think it looks a lot better than just a plastic tank. Looks a little more professional. Although that plastic tank worked out really well. I got my bell housing here. ready to make a upright for the rear. So that's going to be next. I actually thought about just using this engine mount, this really nice aluminum engine mount there, but it exposes the flywheel and the flex plates. There's no shield or nothing there. I didn't like that idea of it being able to like throw stuff, or someone, you know, could get something caught in there. So I went back with the idea of using the bell housing. This is actually a brand new bell housing off Amazon. I'll link everything that I'm using, guys. It looks exactly like the bell housing I had before. I actually used a used one. So once I get my upright figured out, I'm going to probably change that up. I want to do something a little different, a little cleaner looking. So probably when I come back next time, I will probably have that done. So I made a little radiator protector again with the foam that was in the package that protected the radiator. I just made this up, but it does the job. It's just in front of the radiator to protect it. You guys remember last time I punctured my last radiator. Cost me, you know, these are like $200 plus radiators, so I don't really want to do that again. Also, I guess I forgot to mention, I got a overflow tank. That's just to keep everything clean, so if this ends up spitting a little bit of fluid, it's not going to go all over the place or on the floor or anything. So I got another overflow. This one is smaller, fits the stand a little better, I think. And again, I just mounted it. I just pinched it between the mount, the radiator mount here, and that seems to work out really well. So yeah, happy with that too. Okay, so I got my dashboard here, pretty well finished up for the run stand. I got some autometer gauges here, and then I went with a little different switch panel than I had in the other run stand. Another autometer tach. This stuff was in Dad's Camaro, and I had it, so that's why I went with it. I like them. They're nice gauges. They look good. So it just saved me some money. The vacuum gauge, this was on my run stand. I didn't sell my run stand with the vacuum gauge, or I still kept my my O2 sensors. So I kept that. That didn't go with the other run stand. So this is actually it's like an electrical box. It's like weatherproof. It's for, I guess, doing electrical stuff outside. Found that, so I picked that up, and I was able to put my switch panel, 3 gauges on it, and then I put my other ones on top. I know it's a little messy back here with the wires. You're not going to get away from that. If you got an engine stand and you got to do some wires, sensors, you're going to have wires hanging down. You're not going to stop that. Yeah, I got a switch panel here. I got a few more switches, so I'm probably going to do this differently, a little bit differently than I did the last one. But I'm not going to bore you with the wiring. You can check out my other engine run stand videos. Part 2, the last half, I think, is where I went through and I showed all my wiring. But I'm not going to do that. This thing is built. I don't need to do any more fabrication on it. I just used one upright here. I kind of changed it up with the bell housing, made a flat piece just to make it easier. I had an angle iron, and it was just kind of a little hard to get hooked up. So I just did that, and then I made a little pipe that dropped down into the big square tubing, made a frame for this box, and voila. So pretty happy. This swivels just like my other one, and actually I got the cover on hinges, so I can unscrew it and swing it down, so I can wire it up easier. And then I close it up, screw it up. That's really going to help the wiring process, because the lid is going to stay here, and I'm going to be able to get it all wired up. So that's what I got to do next. I got to get this thing wired up. Then I'll be able to fire up Dad's engine here. This is out of the Camaro. We thought it was bad, but it's not. I don't think it's bad. It was just a PCV valve sucking oil because the valve covers didn't have a baffle. But we're going to fire it up on here, and we're going to run it on this thing for a while. Might do compression check and stuff like that while it's on here, but I think it's a good motor. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video here, the engine run stand number 2. And next time you see this, it'll be running this engine. So I guess, guys, that's it. I'll see you.